But let me tell you, first of all, where this kind of came from was actually another prevention conference that I went to last June. And as we were talking about, you know, the America 250 and the big celebration, and I thought, you know what? We have the perfect tool to involve families. And so really what we will be doing, utilizing the, oops, I'm trying to move our pictures. Let me see if I can get those to where I can, there we go. Okay, so what we want to do is help you utilize the next few months to really bring your communities together and strengthening families. You're going to be doing all kinds of events. You know, you may be in different stages. One of the really nice things about this is for a community that doesn't have a plan put together, boy, here it is, ready-made. But then you can also, as things, you know, get added, different, well, we'll talk about that too, but you can actually involve other things. But this actually is a standalone, ready-made. It's all on the app and ready to go. And we'll look at that specifically how the adventures work in just a minute. But they're basically, each adventure is intentionally designed to infuse that evidence-based prevention strategies into your America 250 celebration. Again, strengthening families and building resilient youth, because strong families and strong youth equals strong communities. And that's what we're all after. And I loved how you said, you know, 249, 251. I mean, this really is the focus. Yes, it's wonderful to have this big America 250 focus, but this is, I mean, this is something that we do all the time and that we need to be doing all the time. And frankly, this tool, I mean, we've been using it for years and we will continue to use it for years, because this is what it does, is strengthening families and building resilient youth. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit here. Some of the verbiage is really, it's prevention verbiage. Okay, the core of prevention for youth, the core of strong families is that family bonding. And so every single adventure is designed to involve parents and kids spending quality time together. I am gonna, let's see, I'm gonna try to show, I don't know, can you see my my phone? Is that going to work, Megan? Can you kind of see
Barely. The easiest way to see how this works is really just download GooseChase and use the video that we shared to get connected. And you'll go, oh, it sounds like, well, how do I do that again? And you just go in and do it. And it's not hard. It is so easy and user friendly once
Yep.
you do it. But you
So
can see what it looks like on her phone.
yeah, once you get connected, you'll see there are all kinds of adventures here. Okay. We're going to go into just one. I'm just going to choose, you know, 250 landmarks explored. There's a really good one. Okay. The 250 theme, obviously we know where the 250 theme comes from. Basically, this is each family does it once. It's not that each family is going to do this 250 times. Each family is going to do it once. And by 250 or 500 or 1,500 families in your community doing it, that's where we reach the 250. But so for example, here you can see 250 landmarks explored. And I'm just going to I want to go through the components of each adventure just really quickly. Okay, so it gives kind of the, you know, get curious, move your body, and connect with history and your community. Visiting landmarks is an exciting way for families to get curious, move their bodies, and connect with the history and identity of their community. And then it's going to give them the adventure. Okay, this is what they're going to do. Find a local landmark you've seen but never really looked at. And then it gives some questions. Okay, we want to get families talking to each other. Okay, what do you think this place is here to remember or celebrate? Walk around it, read any plaques, take time to notice the small details. Look it up online or talk to someone who might know the story behind it. And again, a couple of questions. How does this landmark make you feel? What does it tell us about our community? And then this is my favorite part, okay? Every adventure includes what we call tips, teaching important parenting strategies. I like to say we teach parents what they don't know and mostly just remind them what they do know. Because as parents, we get so busy parenting that we sometimes forget to let kids take the lead and to, you know, encourage creativity and stuff. So each adventure then has parent tips that just remind them of different ways to utilize this adventure or this activity to teach resilience. So for example, with this one, it says, talk about how landmarks help communities remember important people, events, or values. They connect us to something greater. Encourage your child to ask questions and wonder, even if they don't know the answers. That's how inquiry grows, or even if you don't know the answers. Turn the experience into adventure, pack a snack, bring a map, or make it part of a weekend outing. Compare landmarks over time. Why do some places get a statue or sign and others don't? What would you make a landmark for? Let your child create their own family landmark, a decorated rock or drawing for a special place in your home or neighborhood. Use landmarks as a starting point for big conversations, fairness, bravery, creativity, or community change. Okay, so again, we're giving parents some fun ideas on ways that they can, some of them that I love. So for example, one that says, the 250 thank yous. One of the tips is to model, be sure that you model gratitude. Again, something that we all know as parents, we kind of know that, but sometimes we forget. And so again, it's just that reminder that, you know what, as you're talking about gratitude with your child, one of the most important things is to model it. So anyway, and then there's the get points section. So then after each adventure, then we tell them how they get their points. This makes it really fun. Basically, we are gamifying the family bonding and the spending time together. So they get points, and points become prizes, and we can talk more about that. But anyway, so every single adventure is about the family bonding. I mean, that really is the core. Here are some other fun things that the adventures, I'm just going to hit some of the top topics. We couldn't get all of them. There are over 50 adventures. Some of them are like, this one was a little, more specific, go out and find a landmark. Some of them are things that they're just going to do during their day, 250 thank yous. They're going to talk about gratitude and then send the kids out into the community to, and say, hey, try to look for opportunities to say thank you today. Notice how it makes you feel. Notice how the other person responds. So a lot of them are just things they're going to be doing anyway. But anyway, so this is a great way to encourage tourism for those of you that are maybe over the tourism area. Things like the 250 landmarks explored, the 250 historical facts, 250 local legends, 250 local heroes. It's a great way to encourage tourism. Obviously, it's a great way to develop patriotism. So Kathy, you were saying that this is a big part of what you do. In the introductory adventures, we actually learn how to say, and I will tell you, I learned from this, and I have seen other people, like I visited my son in Tallahassee, he was like, I can never say the word right. So, we did this, and now even the little one can say semi-quincentennial, and they know what it means, So that's kind of a fun one. They can reflect on what freedom means. And again, it's really important to us here. We're not telling parents what to tell their kids. We're encouraging them to discuss this with their kids, because everyone has their, their version. We want parents to be sharing their values and their ideas, but we're not trying to tell people what freedom should mean to them and, what it looks like. What we want is for parents to be sure that they're having these discussions with their kids. So, there's also one in there where they explore America's founding documents, which I think is really fun. So it's a great way to develop patriotism. Building community. So another key part of prevention is for families and for kids to feel connected to their community. So most of the adventures involve some type of activity that helps them connect with their community, whether it's people or places, the 250 landmarks explored. Did you have a question, Kathy?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
We have a little one, a family member here, and
Oh, fun. Yeah,
so
no problem.
we may hear from her from time to time. So
we understand that.
Yeah, not a problem. If you do have a question, just be sure that we don't just gloss over it. So you can
okay,
put it in the comments or something so Megan can let me know. But anyway, so, 250 community gems where, the family's looking for those things. 250 bridges built is a fun one. And, this could be building bridges to, to people or to organizations. 250 meals shared, again, helping families really connect to the people in their community, the places in their community, helping them feel that community that then is a protective factor, a huge protective factor in prevention. So this is also one, and we could talk about this, but you're also going to want to get your prevention coalitions involved with what you're doing. And that's another thing that's great. There's a, you can way to get everyone involved here, but a lot of them help build characters, 250 thank yous, 250 smiles shared. I love this one, talk about smile, the power of a smile. I mean, that can be a 2-3 minute conversation, and then send everybody out. I mean, mom, dad, the kids out into the world saying, okay, try to smile at everyone you see today and notice what they do. Notice what their reaction is. It was kind of funny. I actually had a conversation with someone. In fact, it was that flight from Atlanta to Tallahassee. And he said, my daughter went to Germany, and he said, she's just used to smiling at everybody. And he said, in Germany, they don't smile back. and he said, so these, some of these can really kind of be a cultural thing, because different cultures are different. He said she actually came back and commented on how it was really hard because she would smile and people didn't smile back. So I had never really thought of that. But, the 250 kind acts, 250 acts of service, 250 storms weathered, that helps as we help our kids, identify the situations where they went through a difficult time, but they made it, and we share, parents, as they share with their kids, a situation they went. This helps build character in kids and, helps them build that resilience. So yeah, there's definitely some overlap here, because we're also going to see one on resilience and academics. But really, this is the thing, building resilience is through all of them. The skill development, which again is another huge prevention factor, a big part of like the social development strategy, which is, a really important evidence-based prevention strategy. 250 skills learned, 250 days of learning, 250 fix-it projects, 250 ideas in action. And again, the families can go in and choose whichever one that they want to do. Now, you also, as a community, could maybe have a focus and say, hey, we're going to, this week, we're going to kind of promote this one. And you can send out kind of that, you guys choose one and you send it out that, hey, this is the one that we're going to focus on. But then the families can, work on whichever one they want. Here we've got the resilience and academic success. Many of the adventures focus on this. So, 250 days of curiosity, 250 books read, 250 days of learning, 250 art creations, 250 acts of courage. I mean, all of these things that help build the academics, they build the resilience, they build character, and so your families are celebrating America 250, but in the process, they're strengthening their family, they're strengthening their youth, developing healthy lifestyles. I mean, a lot of them involve physical activity or helping families develop positive mental health habits, 250 healthy habits, 250 trails walked, 250 days of movement, 250 mindful moments. They really, it carries into all of these. So there are over 50 adventures, that are 250, whatever. And again, the family can choose the one that they want to focus on, or they can then also, you can spotlight that. Now, here's the other thing that's really awesome. Okay, so again, you can see that this could be a standalone. This could be like, whoa, here's our America 250, activity, our program, and here's what we're going to do. But chances are you're going to have a lot of things happening locally as well. Maybe the tourism department is going to plan something, and maybe you've already planned some things that you've got going on. You can actually include those into your local hub. Okay, so in addition to these others, you can, do either of you have something planned? Something coming?
One of the things that we have coming up, of course, July the 4th, we have a parade going on and some local activities, but we are planning an America 250 scarecrow display and contest. So I'm thinking, families can build a scarecrow together and so forth. And, that would be a fun
Oh,
activity.
yes, that is so fun. So yes, for something like that, you can build an adventure specifically for that. And so the families, again, the families will get points for participating in the scarecrow competition. And what's going to be really fun is, okay, they submit their evidence is what it's called. So as they go through, they complete the adventure, and then it tells them how to get their points. Well, to get their points, they either have to submit text and like answer something, or usually we love to have, pictures or a movie with the text. Now, we always teach, we have an adventure that teaches them how to create online safe photos. Because these will be shared with others in your community. So if they don't want to show their kids' faces, they don't need to show their kids' faces. But they, submit that picture. So for example, with the scarecrow, the way that they would get their points is showing a picture of their scarecrow. So everybody's going to get to see in the feed the scarecrows, and that's going to be a great way to share with each other. They're all going to get to see that. You will be able to see, we'll talk about this in a minute, but it's a great way for you to document. You'll be able to see in the back end exactly how many families have participated and the scarecrows that they have and all of that. But anyway, so you can, and even like with your parade, when it comes to, the 4th of July, you can create, a whole nother set, and you can actually create them so that they release at a certain time. Like you don't want to be worrying about this on, July 3rd or July 4th. You're going to be busy with other things. You can create them in advance and then just have them release a few days before the event. And you can have an event for going to the parade, and they share a picture of their favorite part of the parade, or whatever the different activities that you have. So this is a great way to be able to spotlight the local events that you have going, and it allows you to communicate with all of the local families. So you get everybody connected. And then you can just send out, this is a great way to be able to advertise. You can send out messages to everyone. You can send out messages to individual families. Now, one thing that I love is that it is completely, we should actually probably create a slide on this. It is complete, that they get to choose their anonymity, their level of being anonymous. Okay, so for example, I always use the G team, and people have kind of learned that because my last name is Griffiths. Okay, some people kind of know that, but again, looking at it, the G team is, it could be a lot of people. There are a lot of people who's, my son, when he was getting connected out there, they had a fun time talking about, the different name as they chose their name, and the name that they chose, you would have absolutely no idea, who that was. Some families just use their family name, and that's fine if they're good doing that, so they get to choose the level of anonymity. But then the goal is you want to get, as many families as you possibly can connected to this, and then you can communicate directly with them in the back end. You can send out messages, you can say, hey, we're so excited. Remember the scarecrow, contest is coming up on such and such a date. You've only got so many days left, or whatever it is. You can actually send messages directly to them. So yeah, you have full control of the back end. Okay, so you will have access to your back end. You can spotlight your events. I love this. You can communicate with all participants. So what you'll be able to do is actually be watching, and in the back end, you can see which adventures are being completed the most. You can actually see what they do. So maybe you have a family that really goes, does an amazing job. You may want to spotlight that family. So that that might even be on the next one. Yeah, the gathering the data. You can see the number of families that are participating overall, and you can see which adventures and activities are most popular. And then you can actually take them and of course you'd want to get their permission, but you could spotlight, well, actually, and as they participate, you can have that permission as part of as they download and participate, that's them giving the permission. So you don't need individual, but you could spotlight the different things that families are doing. And so it's a great way. This helps you create content for your social media and just all of the different, really gives you a lot of great content to help promote the things that you are promoting. So again, you can, with the community engagement, this is a great way to get everyone involved. Involve the local businesses and, have them donate prizes. They can, especially it could be for anything. So they just like donate prizes that are going to go out to we recommend and we'll go over this, with if you decide to get started with it, we'll have another training where we can kind of give you all of the things that we have learned about how to do prizes and whatnot. But you can involve the businesses, get the schools involved to, get the word out and help families get connected. The nonprofit organizations. It is really a great way to involve everyone. I need to add coalitions to that because your prevention coalitions will want to be a part of this. This is built by a prevention specialist with prevention in mind. So they're going to want to be a part of this.
It sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
So here's our contact information.